Welcome back, everybody, to Catching Up with Cassie J. This is going to be a real quick review. I wanted to do this while we still have some sunlight. So we're going to jump right into this Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Slippery Slope Season 9, Episode 5. It was a couple of highlights that I wanted to just go over about this episode. It did have, the beginning started off with Kirk and Rashida. They went on a date. Kirk is just really trying to show Rashida, I love you, I appreciate you, because they did just have their, I think it was 20th year anniversary, so kind of still trying to carry the energy from that, and I love that, because they have went through a lot, and he just want to prove that, I love you, value you, it's all wonderful, everything's great. It did get into a little bit more, I won't say dark, but it did get into a more serious topic later, with Jock meeting with Alexa Sky at his salon echelons.
I'm not sure.
And Alexa thought I was talking to her, and I was not. And it was just wanting to meet with her because he was wanting to do a panel where he wanted to have different women come up there and talk about sex trafficking, because this is the thing that people are dealing with in various cities across the country, and he wanted to talk to her because he found out that that's something that she had been through, and wanted to let her know that he wanted her to come and speak if she was willing to do. And she said that it was something hard for her to come out and talk about. She had let him know, but she might come and talk on his panel. Now, Rashida let the ladies know that she was going to plan a ski trip for them to go on, just to kind of get away. You all know that watching these shows, the ladies, the couples in general, they always go on some kind of trip, various trips throughout the seasons. So this is their first trip together, and they are going to go to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's nice, peaceful. I personally never have went skiing. I've heard that it's a challenging thing to do. It's something I eventually might want to do, but most of the ladies would say they have never been. So it was funny seeing them kind of shop and get themselves together to go for this trip. Of course, as they're going down the guest list, people are kind of making eyes and making comments about, oh, so this person's going, this person's going. Well, I got issues with this person. But nonetheless, everybody's going to go because, it's a free trip. Who's not going to go on this trip? Now, at Jock's event where he's having the ladies talk on the panel about the sex trafficking, of course, he brought his fiance, and the women are up there. It was real insightful to see the women up there, because it is a scary thing to know that this is something that happens. It's one of those things that I've never understood how people can. It's one of those crimes that I never understood why people do it. Not why in the sense of I understand it's for money and so on and so forth. Not that part. I just never understood the mentality of you taking advantage of someone in that sense. It's like, taking advantage of children. I don't see how you could take advantage of a child. How you could take advantage of elderly people. It's a disturbing thing for someone to do. That's what I mean by I don't understand how someone could do that. Jock had made the point that, this crime, I don't think people fully understand what it looks like or what it is. And Akbar was there, and she said it's pimp and hoeing. That's what it is. And he was like, no, it's not pimp and hoeing. That's not the only way that it looks. And he said most of you guys think that it's just a white van, pulling up and just snatching people up. And I'll be honest, when he said it, I was like, yeah, it's a white van. That's what you're always told, the news stories and all the resources they're telling you, to be mindful of, white vans. Be mindful of vans and SUVs and trucks, and be careful. Even my family has told me, be careful when you're out. Don't park beside certain cars and things like that. And to hear the other ladies on the panel, there was a woman who had been in the sex trafficking for 20 years. There was one lady, she had been in it as a sex trafficker, like she was a participant, like she was picking up the people, and she was also a victim of it. The first lady who had did it for had been, I think she said she had been in it for like 20 years or so, but she said that she had had 20 abortions. It was devastating, and she was like, several of those abortions, she was in her second trimester. So once you get that far along, you have to physically have the baby. And I haven't personally had to go through an abortion, but I've heard other women talk about it, and that's very devastating. It's almost like having a miscarriage and having to push that baby out. It's a lot. That whole thing, that whole situation, listening to those women, and the one lady, both the ladies, they said that where their experience started was at a church. The first lady, she said it was a pastor's daughter who got her in this sex trafficking ring. And the other lady who said that she was a participant in the sex trafficking, she said she was also, it was at church. And it blew my mind in a sense, because it's like, that's one of the places you send your kids to thinking that they're safe. And when something does happen to people's kids, that's one of the first places you do go to for help. I've seen it on the news. I've seen it in communities where people's kids go missing or anything, and that's one of the places they go to. They'll go to their church and say, hey, I need your help. I need the church's help. I need for you as a part of my community to help rally around me, to help me to find my child, help me to help my child, and to come to find out that you're a part of it. It just, I was speechless to see that. So Jock really was hoping that Alexis Scott would show up and tell her story. And she did eventually show up, and she said that she had ran away from home, and a guy found her and took her phone, threw it in the water, so she had no way of contacting anybody, and threatened her life, and told her, if she didn't do what he said, he would kill her. And she was like, she didn't want to die, so she did what he said. She said one day she was out, she was with a guy, and he seen her crying, and he asked her how old she was, and she said she was 16. And she said he took her to a bus stop and put her on a bus, and that's how she got away. Everybody is not so fortunate. So she was just like, she felt like because she had went through that, that was part of the reason why she is the way she is, and why she reacts the way she reacts about certain things. And if she hasn't gotten like counseling and went through some kind of therapy, because that's real traumatizing, that probably is why she's lashing out the way she did. So it was really insightful to see them go through that, and to talk to other people so that they could see what this really looks like, and see people come out on the other side of that. Now, another touching subject that ended up coming up on the show was about Shooter and Sierra's daughter. She had been having issues in school. She had been getting into trouble and kind of skipping school and so on and so forth. And they was like, what is your issue with school? Like, why are you having problems? Why are you acting out in school? And she was just like, she don't like school. And, they're like, what could you possibly not like about school? Well, later on, come to find out, the reason why she was having issues in school was people were messing with her in school, and she ended up getting into a fight at school with a girl, and the girl's mom comes up there to the school too, and they jump her. So it's a student and a mom jumping Sierra and Shooter's daughter in the bathroom. Of course, they're trying to find out and figure out how the mom got on campus and got into the bathroom. Nonetheless, this is what they are now dealing with. And Sierra was like, she called her daughter called her, I was on the phone with her before the incident happened, and was telling her mom, this girl is trying to fight me, her mom is here. And next thing you know, she said she just heard the phone drop, and she heard the commotion. I couldn't imagine. Just couldn't imagine getting one of them phone calls. It just, once again, another one of these situations that was just speechless. It's now, Kurt also had an issue at the Frost house. Kurt Jr.'s son got arrested for drug possession and a gun charge. They said that he was leaving the bistro, and the police stopped him for an illegal lane change, and he had some marijuana and a gun on him. But the way they wrote the charge up, they said that he had a sawed-off shotgun, and he had weed with the intent of distributing. So, as he said, they wrote this up to make you like a criminal. Like, they really are trying to stick it to you. So, you have all these families having these issues, and now the ski trip is coming up. So, Rashida decides that she doesn't want to go on the trip because she says, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to deal with this issue with my family. I just don't feel comfortable leaving right now. Now, Sierra tells Shooter, I need for our daughter to stay home with you because I'm not comfortable with her being here in our apartment, because apparently the girl who she got into the fight with lives in the same building as them. So that was the decision she made for the safety of their child. So she goes on the trip still. Now, Carly Red makes the comment that I just couldn't have done that. If I was her, I couldn't imagine going on no trip after my daughter just got assaulted at school. Who does that? Well, Carly, her daughter's safe. She's with her father. But had you been a friend, you would have called her, had a conversation with her about it, and you might have known all this information, and you wouldn't have made that comment. The difference between what Sierra and Rashida are going through are two different things. Rashida's child is going through being arrested and charged. Sierra's child is the victim. She's with a parent. She's being consoled. She's being protected. Rashida needs to be there in case her child has to go to court. It's a little bit different. Now, you chose that you felt like you would have wanted to stay home. That was your choice. Sierra felt like, you know what? I need to just clear my mind and I want to woosah. And that's what she wants to do. She's not leaving her child. She's not abandoning her child. Her child's with her dad. The child is safe. So while they're on the bus, Bambi feels the need to make the comment, "Ooh, Sierra, you must really be going through something for you to get on a bus with Carly." It's like, let's not draw more attention to the obvious. Like, clearly we know that y'all having some tensions and going through something, but let's just not make it worse. Like, let's just not. But they go ahead, they head on out. We're going to see how this trip is going to go. Based on how it's starting and the little petty little comments people are making, I just don't see how this trip is going to end too well. Now, it ends the episode with Cheyenne and Scrap helping Scrap to get his stuff. He's moving into a new place, and he is talking to Cheyenne about, hey, are you and my mom going to make amends? I did not even realize that Cheyenne and KK had a problem, other than KK getting all up in Cheyenne business about her and Shooter dating. That was the only issue that I knew about. But apparently, KK is upset about a phone bill. I don't know how high the phone bill has to be for her to be so upset to the point that y'all are going back and forth in text messages, calling each other's all kind of names. But apparently that bill is high. Hella high. Because we having a text war over a cell phone bill. So KK shows up to the house, and Cheyenne is like, hey, Ma, how you doing? Hello. I'm wonderful. KK pulls out this blood pressure monitor and was like, I carry this with me everywhere I go so I can just keep track of my blood pressure because I want to make sure I keep my blood pressure down. Scrap looked at her like, Mama, you take this with you everywhere you go? Yeah. Oh. Maybe you need to change the places you go, because if you got to carry this around with you everywhere, then you might need to reevaluate your life, because you shouldn't have to carry no blood pressure machine around with you everywhere you go. None unless she checks her blood pressure, and at that very moment her blood pressure was a little high. And she was like, well, let me tell you why my blood pressure is a little bit high. The reason why my blood pressure is a little bit high is because, Cheyenne, I know that you didn't pay me that money for that cell phone bill because you just did it out of spite. Because I know you had the money. So they arguing over this cell phone bill. In the midst of this argument, she decides that KK, that is, I'm just going to go ahead and just let it all out. I'm tired of playing games with you. So you gonna tell Scrap the truth about what it is you got going on? Cheyenne was like, what you talking about? Cheyenne, you should have maybe redirected that energy somewhere else, some kind of other way, because you knew exactly what she was talking about. You knew she was upset with you, and you knew that she was gonna say something. You should have tried to direct that somewhere else, because you knew you wasn't ready to have that conversation. So she just went ahead and told her. She was like, you gonna tell Scrap about you and Shooter? So Scrap was like, what the hell is going on? What did I miss? What y'all talking about? And of course they just leave us hanging right there. So we gotta wait till next week to discuss how he reacts to this. But you know, he's gonna react. He gonna stay calm. He gonna stay cool. Cause you know, Scrap don't never really turn up like that. And I like that about him. But sometimes that makes me a little bit nervous. Somebody that stays that calm all the time makes me a little nervous. Cause it make me wonder. Yeah, it make me wonder. But that was all. Ain't nothing much else. We gonna see how this go next week. So I hope everybody continues to stay safe, stay quarantined. Hope we can flatten this curve out and slowly and safely re-enter society when they tell us to. But until then, again, everybody stay safe. Continue to watch YouTube videos. Continue to learn something. Continue to spend time with your loved ones. And we can all come out of this on top. Until next time, have a great night, everybody.